You know, there's this legend called Amelia C, and I'm responding to her, and I'm putting it public, and I probably shouldn't have said her name. Anyway, let's just call her AC from now on. She's an air conditioning unit. I don't know how that she was able to type this. Maybe she also acts as a fax machine. She can put a piece of paper in there by convincing somebody around her that, hey, can you just type something out for me and then just put it in there and then I'm just going to fax it through and somehow that's going to end up on the internet. It's a long shot, but how do you explain it, hey? You got nothing better, do you? No, just got nothing to say ever. You just make me sit here dangling in the wind saying obscene things like that. Anyway, and also just got out of the shower. But the point is, look, Amelia is a dead set legend. You can just tell by the way that she writes things on Jordan Shanks, which you should sign up to. You could write me things as well, where I seldom, if ever, respond to anything. And then when I do, I seriously breach privacy unapologetically. What a concept. Right, so she is writing to me saying that she doesn't know how to set proper boundaries because she is what you would call in the game, and by game I mean her inner dialogue because it was her that used this description. But I suppose we all know what it means, and she used it because we kind of know that a duck means a duck. Anyway, we're getting very abstract here. Let's just get back on track. She is saying that she doesn't know how to set boundaries well. Permit me to read it out. Just get this going here. Describing this to the very few people that use Spotify. Shout out. Now there's something that is seldom checked. Jesus, it's the word of the day, isn't it? Look, she says, dude. All right, that's pretty informal. My name is Mr. Shanks, but anyway. I've got a cue for you. More informalities. Somewhat related. You got any advice for somebody who is a people pleaser? Boom! I knew that she used it because I just read it. Wow, what a memory. Slightly better than a goldfish. I'm quite generous with my time, and it means I'm quite good at forging relationships, which is an important aspect of my work and is also genuinely enjoyable. Yeah, for you, for little wind-up robot toys like me. No, this is not on the exact direction that I want. And then you topple me over, and then you see my little legs sparkling in there, sparkling out those pieces of electric charge. So Amelia C is not that. Trying to think of a social toy. G.I. Joes. You think about girls when you think about Joes. Joe's a girl name. Just get rid of the A. It does mean that a pushover is spending less time doing the things that I think are most important. So if you've got tips on boundaries and utilising your agreeableness, etc., well, you already have utilised that. And this is something that I want everybody to understand. There are core aspects to your personality. You can obviously do the Jordan Peterson personality test. You can do the Myers-Briggs one. I think why him, why her, as I've said numerous times before, is the simplest one that just gives you such a... You're one of these four people. That's it. Are you a left arm, right arm? I'm doing camera left, by the way. Don't sit there and be like, that's your right arm. You know, well, you'd be very clever to disseminate that, wouldn't you? And you probably got that from a TAFE course in media. I'm a psychic, all right? I'm one step ahead of you. Yeah. She is definitely high in estrogen. Classic giveaway. I'm agreeable and I'm a pushover and I'm nice and that helps me out of my job. I don't know what your job is. I'm assuming it might be something along the lines of teaching or nursing or what's another really empathetic job? That's right, hedge fund manager, right? I don't know. I don't really actually even know what they do. I think they just sit there I think they just sit at the top of a penthouse all day snorting coke. Tell me if I'm wrong, hedge fund managers, but yeah. What you've already identified is that it's working for you. And I do not think that that's something that you can change about yourself. Now, I am in two minds when it comes to this. That yes, you can obviously work on weaknesses that you have in your life, but you also have basic operations of your being that I think are a little bit deeper than your personality. I think they are just chemical. Obviously, I am extremely jealous of people like you that are interested in these so-called humans. But I, on the other hand, the little sparkly robot, don't give a shit and am very annoyed, I suppose is the question, if I'm not doing exactly what I had programmed myself to achieve when I was 15, and now I'm running out of goals because I've achieved them all, and I'm getting to that stage in life where I'm just going to probably be in Mykonos in a couple of years, looking out at a beach all day, being like, hey, is that all there is? Beautiful sunsets and being really happy all the time and partying. But yeah, that happens as a result of my wiring. I fully understand. Knowing some people, see, quite relatable content to people pleasers, isn't it? I have had contact with humans before, mostly corner store clerks. Sometimes the bus driver when he said, "Have you got a bus pass?" and I said no, and then they have to let you on anyway. Fun tip, lads that know all about that. But what she is saying there, and this is important, this is very important if you are a people pleaser, is that, okay, you're sort of destined along a path, and I think it is because it is chemical. It is chemical that you're a nice person. Sorry that you have to deal with that burden of everyone liking you. That must suck. Right? And yes, I fully understand how it's a massive drain because other people's emotions weigh on you. Huge burden in life. As I've said before about Jordan Peterson being like, you must find the biggest burden you can and bear that cross. That is the noblest thing you can do in life. Your version of that is, I broke up with my boyfriend. And then you have to, I guess, just absolve some of their pain and just feel that for the rest of your life and say, okay, have a nice day. This was a fair exchange. And then they walk out a little bit lighter as a result of being in front of you. That's cool. Obviously, as you've identified, that is an extremely important skill. What I would say as a result is that setting boundaries you could do, but you would be going against your nature to do it. It is totally in my nature to put in as many boundaries as possible. People all the time come up to me and say, I've sent you 50 emails. And I say, yeah, because I have handlers. I don't check that. Most of my life now is just getting pushed around by my staff saying you have to be in Melbourne today. Now you have to go to the floods. It's just that all day, every day. Oh, we're filming this today. I'm just like, in this foggy haze of people just moving me around. And that is because I have tried to keep as much contact away from me as possible, as that is my nature. My nature is to just get transfixed on one thing. And everything else in my life is an obstacle. Now, there are two ways to define an obstacle, or at least perceive them in your head. One of them is something that you are trying to avoid, and one is that you are trying to work around. Now, both of them are pretty slack. But I would like you to start thinking of every human being that you ever meet in your life a little like I do. But it's not just seared into you like it's a cattle prod of, yeah, you're just going to sit in a room the rest of your life. I want you to think about it as the people that are taking up your time, that I assume in fair exchange to that, you are just making feel better and then they just walk away. I would like you to see them as obstacles, not as people to just remove from your life. If you can, that'd be great to just be like, no, you're of no use, bye. But if you don't have that really scary view of life of human beings are basically the same as lamps, I think the next best thing that you could do is to just think, okay, this is an obstacle in my life, but I still have my goal. How do I utilize the time that I have with that obstacle so that I'm still moving towards my goal and, in fact, might be learning things in the process that will help me with my goal? It is more about thinking that in every environment you are ever in, you are learning something. You are acquiring or reinforcing some skill. So when you are with people, and to give you an example, because this is the only thing that I can do really, is give my own life experience. And at this point, my life experience is just being inside my head my entire life. But, okay. as I've said numerous times on this, I hate going to parties. I hate doing anything that isn't my work. Complete workaholic. So the way that I get around it is, say that my girlfriend drags me out of my cave every 6 months so that I accompany her to, a funeral or something that she thinks has emotional value. Pfft, loser. In that scenario, I think, okay, my obstacle is I don't want to be here, but I do need referential experiences because I've spent so much time reading, never leaving my house, that I have almost by proxy set up an agoraphobia. But it's not even that. It's just now I've got so much to do all the time. Got so much to do. So when I'm out, what I do instead is think this is part of the process. And just by being out, I realize, oh, okay, this is what normal human beings are thinking about because they're not focused on pesticides for 2 months. Yeah? So what you should be doing is the exact opposite of that. When you are speaking to someone, while you're, being very generous with your time, and this is why goals are important, because they're constantly aligning your mind to where it should be going. And if you don't have those goals, it just goes free for all. Now, the fact that you have interpersonal skills, as you've just outlined in your comment, you're going to be wanted for life. You're going to be handled. But if you want to achieve something more, you're going to have to be very, very, very definite in your goals so that when you are in one of these sessions, which is, like, let's be honest, is essentially a waste of time, it's not a complete waste of time. You are still getting something of it back. In fact, you are getting more of it back because there is a richness to it. There's a video that I want to do, actually, that's just about, because I was just talking to this sustainable farmer, and he was talking about the richness of the farmland that he has in terms of, it's a very complex, biodiverse ecosystem in comparison to his other farmers, which is just, I've got corn. Does a scarecrow count as another piece of biodiversity? Everything else is dead. Right? His, obviously, is more sustainable, but it's also going to have longer life because there's so much life supporting it than his farmer that's just a monocrop. And I realise in my life I am definitely that monocrop field of wheat. I've just spent virtually the last 10 years doing essentially 1 or 2 skills. So I'm very good at those skills, but that's all I'm good at. While you, because of all of this richness, I suppose, are more like that farm. Now, if that farm had some direction, well, it would be a farm then, wouldn't it? But that's what I'm saying. That, actually, in a way, you can turn this weakness into a strength by emphasizing your strengths and kind of just channeling your strengths and cultivating it, I suppose, like it's that farm. I know it's a very confusing way of saying that. Let me unpack that, if I can. I'm actually not that confident that I can at the moment, but I am saying that you should be like that farm. You're not actually like that farm at the moment. What you're more like is, you are more like wilderness because of all the life experiences that you've had, I'm sure, and all the other life experiences that you've consumed. But if you put a little bit of direction in it, I'm talking about a teeny bit of direction. We're just talking about goals here. Just see those goals as planting seeds. You're going to create a farm, and as a result of that, both things will start playing off of each other. You'll be able to produce better quality food because you have all of these things to put into it. And I think that it just really, the missing ingredient there is that you should be thinking about it as, okay, let's give these time-wasting sinkholes some direction. The benefit's me. Yeah? And this is that whole quote back in the day that I was talking about with Brian Tracy, that is, those that do not have goals are doomed to work for people that do have goals. It's because the person that has the goal in that situation, and it's great if you are in a symbiotic relationship with someone else that has a goal, That's a really cool exchange because you both know what you want out of it. Yeah? And everybody does have subconscious goals anyway, but when you have really clearly defined goals, when you are in these interactions, and this is what's really exciting, you can just simultaneously help the other person out. But as opposed to it just kind of being, this is the whole thing as well. If you're just kind of sitting there consuming what they have, it kind of just becomes a win-lose situation. And in that scenario, you can be using your natural talents to be improving that person's life, as well as saying, yeah, and how about reciprocating? Yeah? Anyway, if you like that, check out Jordan Shanks. And you will like a lot of the stuff that's on there as well, because those are the things that I keep in my secret little book that I've been studying for the last 10 years in this room, and you'll never know what's inside unless you sign up for 1 to 2 videos extra a week, and you will not regret it. No one ever does, trust me. I have a 100% success rate. Everybody there is a millionaire. Anyway, truth.